party line votes, but I would ask members to think carefully about this vote. It was during the first Bush administration that the leases of Bristol Bay were withdrawn, and the taxpayers paid more than $100 million to purchase those leases back. Because in the judgment of the Bush administration after the Exxon Valdez spill, that the impact of spills in the cold ocean, cold climate areas of Alaska were persistent and catastrophic and had a dramatic impact on the fisheries. Bristol Bay is the most prolific fishery in the world. The Bristol Bay Southeast Bering Sea fishery is worth approximately $2 billion a year. It does not just impact Alaska, it impacts the entire West Coast, and in fact contributes very significantly to the export value of U.S. fisheries in a total sense. There are 55 tribes, native associations, and fishing organizations in Alaska that are opposed to drilling in that area. As I said earlier, it's not just about the 55 groups and the impacted jobs up in Alaska and the perpetual fishery with a phenomenal value, but it also supports about 5,000 jobs in Washington, Oregon, and California. And at this point, I'd like to insert an opinion editorial written by Ken Morish, who owns a guiding business in Ashland, Oregon. Without objection?
Without objection, it will be part of the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The impacts would go far, far beyond Bristol Bay should there be an accident. So if you think about the short-term impact of a depletable resource off of Bristol Bay and compare it to a perpetual resource valued at more than $2 billion a year, it seems to me that the trade-off isn't worth the risk. It's really a tale of two Bushes, because it was the first Bush who withdrew this and initiated a process to pay $100 million to buy back the leases. It was the second Bush who put these leases back on the table, withdrew the moratorium, even though taxpayers had paid $100 million to withdraw the leases and protect the area in perpetuity from the threat of oil spills. And then the Obama administration reversed the second Bush administration, agreeing with the first Bush administration, and withdrew it again from the leasing program, their 212 to 217 leasing program. So I urge my colleagues to think this one through and not just vote in a rote sense, but think about a perpetual $2 billion industry that we would put at risk for the short-term extraction of oil in that area, when there are many other areas in Alaska available now for drilling, in particular the former Naval Petroleum Reserve, where there has been no production despite the fact that there are huge recoverable resources, and leasing took place back during the Clinton administration. So I don't believe we need to add Bristol Bay to this list in order to assure America a continued supply of oil from Alaska. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back his time. I recognize myself for 5 minutes in opposition. There is a bit of irony with